image of a pioneer. Last summer, I saw Polly Bemis for the first time at a monastery in northern Idaho. Obviously, I didn't see her in person. It was just a life-size cardboard image of her, standing at a little over 4 feet tall, an Asian lady with a kind and smiling face. It started my curiosity. After some readings on the subject, the journey of Polly Bemis unfolded in front of me. On September 11th, 1853, a baby girl was born to a poor family near Beijing, China. No one around her would have known her path would later take a sudden turn and bring her to the other side of the Pacific. About 20 years later, her father sold her to bandits for a few bags of seed. The bandits smuggled her onto a ship bound for the United States. From the moment she was sold, the rest of her life's journey lay ahead of her, unknown, unpredictable, and unexpected. The ship carried her to San Francisco. After being passed through many hands, she finally arrived at Warren, Idaho. As an old saying goes, when one door closes, another opens. The girl did not complain about her life's difficulties. Rather, she carried on, knowing the path laid at her feet would lead to her destiny. Polly Bemis lived in Idaho for over 60 years. Her presence added a fascinating page to Idaho's history. She conquered adversity, made many friends, and enjoyed a hard but happy life. One of her friends eventually became her husband. They had no kids. Because of her enthusiasm, courage, and generosity, she gained trust and won respect from her friends. Polly always told fairy tales and shared her garden produce with her friends and neighbors. She also helped take care of their children. Her friends, Charlie Shep and Pete Klinkhammer, helped rebuild her house after it was damaged in a fire. Her neighbors helped the Bemises chop wood, order and deliver their winter food supplies as they aged. The Cizik family took her to Boise for the first time. She spent her last moment with no family around her, but she had lifelong friends around to dissipate her loneliness. Some Chinese miners in the Warren also made friends with Polly. They always looked out for one another. Lee Dick is a resident of the Warren. He saved many lives in this area because of his knowledge of the Chinese medicine. He spent a lot of time to relieve the suffering, never expecting money. Polly sometimes gave him fruits and vegetables from her garden. Even though Lee eventually moved back to China, their friendship remained. In that era, many Chinese chose to go back to China or move to places with a bigger Chinese population. Polly chose to stay because she fell in love with this place. It gave her courage, hope, and happiness even though she was not born here. More than a century later, more Chinese women came here to get education, take on all kinds of jobs, and contribute their talents to America. Polly Bemis and her prized legacy. There's truly one state in this great land of ours where ideals can be realized. The pioneers made it so for you and me, a legacy we'll always prize. One such pioneer who inspires and encourages with her legacy is Polly Bemis. She may have been no taller than a broom, but the legacy she left behind is larger than Idaho's towering peaks. Polly's pioneering spirit stimulates Idahoans today to exercise self-reliance and ingenuity, to display courage and seek adventure, and to demonstrate kindness and friendship. Polly Bemis continually displayed self-reliance and ingenuity. One such example is when she ran a boarding house. She was unmarried, and she cooked, cleaned, and ironed for her boarders without any financial or physical assistance from a spouse. Additionally, she succeeded in taming Idaho's wild desert and sprouting an extensive garden while living with her husband. Polly also demonstrated ingenuity by multitasking while toiling in her garden. She saved fat worms in her pocket to use as bait while fishing later in the day. She further provided for herself and her husband by fishing daily. She excelled at this art and one day caught 27 trout.
Polly also exhibited courage and a spirit of adventure. One such instance was while she was running her boarding house, and the rugged miners living there disliked her coffee. Instead of being intimidated, she brandished her knife, saying, "Who no like my coffee?" This act of courage showed that she stood up for herself. In addition to courage, Polly possessed an adventurous spirit. Her husband Charlie once caught a cougar. She took part in taming it and even allowed it to dine at her table. Mrs. Bemis also demonstrated bravery by opting to continue living by herself with no protection or assistance in labor when her husband died. Additionally, Polly showed kindness and displayed friendship. When her husband was shot in the cheekbone by an angry gambler, the doctors thought he would die and they gave up on him, but Polly nursed him back to health. She also demonstrated kindness to the children in the community by remembering all of their names and birthdays, even those she had not seen in years. Polly assisted children that were unable to find lodging while receiving an education. She fed them and gave them a place to sleep. It is evident that her adult friends Charlie Shep and Pete Klinkhammer cared about her because when her cabin caught fire, they rebuilt her home and garden. Other various friends took her on a trip to Grangeville, where she saw her first movie, observed her first train, and rode her first automobile. Polly's venerable character traits help inspire all of Idaho's population. Her work ethic, industry, bravery, compassion, and amiability encourage Idahoans today to carry on her legacy.